Welcome to the BankTalk podcast, the show where we talk to leaders and experts from the community banking sector. Whether you are a current CEO or aspire to be one, this podcast will give you valuable insights and advice on how to run your financial institution better. Each episode features a different topic and a guest who shares their experience and knowledge with us. Tune in and learn something new with BankTalk podcast.
Hi, welcome to BankTalk. I'm Rich Cardy, Director of Sales with Remedy Consulting. Today we'll be having a discussion with Jack Dwyer, CEO of CFG Bank down in Maryland. We're going to talk to him a little bit about an exclusive account that CFG put together in supporting the recovery of the Key Bridge. Without further ado, let's kick that off. Well, hello, Jack. Thanks for joining us here today on BankTalk.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Well, Jack, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, a little bit about CFG and what you got going on?
Started CFG Bank after the last financial crisis in 2008. I landed in the healthcare space throughout the country. And prior to the financial crash, I used to do it through lines of credit. When financial crashes happen, the banks always reel everything in. And that's what they did with my line of credit, and decided I'm never going to put myself in this position again, and I'm going to buy a bank. So I did that. I bought a bank in Baltimore that had 3 branches and was a $100 million bank that was having some financial difficulties. And now I grew it into a $5 billion plus bank.
Wow, that's impressive. And obviously, I've gone to the homepage and I've seen it right there on CFG's website, but tell us a little bit more about, the Maryland Tough and Baltimore Strong Fund that was created.
So Baltimore Communities Foundation, was the group that actually created the fund, Maryland Tough, Baltimore Strong. And, the bank made a significant contribution to that. But I wanted to do more than that. The fact that people lost their lives. It was a very tragic situation. It's an iconic bridge that's, part of Baltimore. I mean, as a matter of fact, we had just moved into our new headquarters, and the view outside of my window was the Key Bridge. So it was there, and then it was gone. So it's just a horrible situation, and a lot of people lost their lives, and just a lot of people, the businesses have been, kind of destroyed as a result of that. So we decided we wanted to do more. And, my thought process was come up with a great creative idea that could supplement the community foundation that was already set up to help people that, the families of the people that lost their lives, the first responders, port workers, and the small businesses that got devastated. So the idea was to come up with a deposit and call it the same thing, Maryland Tough, Baltimore Strong, and talk to the customers and say, look, if you allow 5 basis points of that rate to be contributed to this fund, I'll match 5 basis points for everybody that'll do that. So it's for existing customers, it's for new customers. I really want to promote it because there's a lot of people, so many people read about this. It was huge news, having a bridge collapse like that.
Yep.
That, I thought a lot of people would, be willing to contribute to that effort and help the people that are suffering as a result.
Yeah, that's obviously a great idea. And, I'm sure, it's helping with the relief efforts.
Yes.
And like you say, your office, you're able to look out. How's progression look so far? I think I was just saying before chatting with you, it looks like fall 2028 is what they were targeting in terms of getting something back into place. But have you heard anything differently?
No, that's pretty much what I've heard. It's just, they went through a process. They selected somebody who could do the job. And, so far there's no physical evidence of anything going on. But right now it's kind of depressing to look out the window because you see the 2 approaches that came up to the actual bridge part.
Yep.
And it's just empty, the middle. So just constant reminder of, the people that have lost their lives and the trouble that it created, for other marketers.
Well, Jack, thanks for that update too. I'm sure, hopefully things progress quickly and obviously safely, and you're looking at, a beautiful bridge outside your office soon enough. It is a creative way to obviously, help in the relief. Maybe you want to touch upon, how you guys came up with that and maybe how it ties to the foundation of Maryland Tough, Baltimore Strong.
Well, look, if you know anything about me, which you don't yet, but you will, I'm chock full of innovative ideas. That's my whole MO. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a banker. I'm actually somebody who bought a bank and, have slightly different mentality than the average banker, just more, again, just innovative. And I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm thinking to myself, in most instances, when you see a tragedy happen, I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, this is so bad. I'd love to be able to help.
Right.
And then it's very difficult to help because you don't really, well, what do I do? Do I give to here? And is this really the right thing? Will it get to the right people? And da-da-da-da. So everybody is reluctant to do something because they don't know really where to turn. The Baltimore Community Foundation came up with which is a great name because it's all about what we are. Maryland Tough, Baltimore Strong. There's been much adversity that transpires sometimes in our city. And we are tough people and we will always survive and make things better when we can. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a great way for me to tie into them and this innovative approach. I was thinking, well, what possible way would it be where I can gather a lot of people together and they can make the same contribution that I'm going to make? And so I'm thinking on the deposit side, we have a great rate. Like if you look in the Wall Street Journal at bank rate, we're always in the top 10. Okay. You check the Wall Street Journal on Wednesdays. I think it's published. We're always there. So, we're attractive to begin with, from a depository perspective. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a great way to do it. I get people to, whether they're an existing customer or a new customer, I say to them, look, it doesn't hurt you at all because I'm taking the money that I'm going to pay you, but, and I'm going to ask you to contribute, 5 basis points of that to this fund. And I pay a higher rate than everybody else anyway. So it's not really going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to match the 5 basis points and give to an effort that I'm sure, you heard about, and that's an absolute tragedy. And it's going to go to the people who need it the most.
That's great to hear. I guess from our perspective, Remedy Consulting, we have kind of that technician type background. So, I guess if you don't mind answering for our side, how do, the proceeds roll up? Is it something the core system's doing for you? Is it kind of like a back end spreadsheet behind the scenes? How does that look for CFG?
So we have some great people that work at our organization that, are much more tech savvy than me, but they can make some structural changes to our core system. Yep. And as a result of doing that, just a little programming on their behalf enables the core system to basically handle it all.
Sure.
So, it's just, the amount of time that they have to deal with that, is really our only cost associated with doing something like this. So it was actually relatively not easy thing, but just could be done.
Yeah. And I think I saw it. So the program runs through the end of 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, it does.
Right.
That doesn't mean we can't extend it, though. I mean,
yeah. I was obviously wondering where it looked like completions a few years down the line, what that looks like moving into the next year and so forth. Okay. From your perspective, you feel it's been a success so far? Is it taking a lot of the time of the tech people, or, internally, how's that look? And, if you don't mind spending a few minutes there.
No, I think from a tech's perspective, it hasn't taken a lot of time, and people were happy to do it. Like, look, as far as I'm concerned, again, the culture that I've created at my company, we're all about giving back.
Yeah.
And giving back to the city. I mean, Baltimore's been great to me. I've created my businesses here. I have, many other businesses other than the bank, and they're all, rooted here. So we're always willing to help, our city,
Right.
and better our city. And, when it's in times of crisis, we're going to do that. So it really, even if it did take a little bit of time, which it didn't, they handled the tech side of it very well.
Yeah.
They would have been happy to do it because that's what we do. So,
Yeah.
And look, as far as I'm concerned, it's been very successful so far. And the promotion that we've, for the Baltimore Community Foundation, I mean, they put themselves on the map initially, and then us drawing more attention to them, even if they don't bank with us.
Right.
Hopefully that much more donations were made as a result of us giving more publicity to the Baltimore Community Foundation. Hopefully that was the case. And I think it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, I saw it on your website when you kind of go to it, but is it being promoted anywhere else, or is there marketing within the community that you've seen success on this?
Yeah, we several different podcasts that I've done, and we've taken out, advertisements. We've, done everything we can to promote it,
Yeah.
to get people to agree to allow us to take 5 basis points of their rate and then ultimately match that. So we're doing everything we can to promote it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, what about other institutions? Or have you heard anyone else that's doing something like this that made, it seems like a great thing to do, like you're supporting the community. I would think obviously if there's success to it, and it's still obviously building, but anyone else reach out to say, hey, how's it going? Or anyone else that might be trying to do something similar?
I haven't heard of anybody yet doing that, but that was part of the reason why I did it too, was I thought people would say, oh God, this is such a great idea. And a lot of people did say that. They said, what an innovative idea. So glad that you did this. But I haven't heard of anybody jumping on that bandwagon. Kind of disappointing, actually, because I thought usually people do copy, what I do.
Right.
And I want them to do that. It's no different than my, Jack and Nancy Dwyer Workforce Foundation that I set up. And I want people to copy that. And so far I've seen like one person copy that. But, that's a topic for another time if you want to talk about Jack and Nancy Dwyer Workforce. But It's, most of what I do, I want people to do that because it's going to better the world and help people that need help. That's what I'm all about.
That's great. I love hearing that. Well, we appreciate the insight, Jack. Is there anything I missed, or if anyone wanted to get in touch with yourself or someone at CFG to maybe learn a little bit more about this, do you have, the best steps to do that?
Yeah, I would actually go to our website. That would be the best way for anybody to do that, and which pertains to retail customers and commercial customers, and so it's helpful for them to make that contribution to the Maryland Tough Baltimore Strong Fund.
Absolutely. Well, anything else I missed, Jack? We appreciate your time. You obviously, have set up a really creative and, like I said, an exclusive type fund that I think other people will potentially catch on to, especially where, you're only growing your roots and helping the community that you guys survive in.
Just want to thank you, and I appreciate BankTalk coming on and doing this, because this is what gets the word out and helps support, my city that took a big blow as a result of losing that bridge. I mean, literally, that's part of the highway that goes part of the Beltway. I mean, they, running parallel to that, it's 95, but it's just, kind of wreaked havoc for Baltimore. And I mean, the worst part is, the people's lives that were lost. It's just a horrible situation. But thank you for doing the podcast.
Not a problem. We appreciate your time and insight. And like I said, there's unfortunately catastrophes and Mother Nature and whatever else that is going to continue to go on throughout the country, not necessarily in Baltimore. And, hopefully that bridge is back up there for you guys. And like I said, out your window that you can see, sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.
Same here. Well, thank you to the listeners for joining us today. Hopefully you found it an interesting topic. Keep on learning. We'll see you next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Bank Talk podcast brought to you by Remedy Consulting. To learn more about CFG Bank and its services, including the Maryland Tough, Baltimore Strong commercial and retail money market accounts, go to cfg.bank. Once again, cfg.bank. If you like what you hear, please rate, review, and share our work with others. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.